Welcome to the Buick Outdoors Podcast. I'm your host, Sheldon Marion, and on this podcast, we dive deep into the outdoors. We discuss hunting and fishing techniques, give you tips and tricks, tell stories, and everything in between to help you enjoy the outdoors. This podcast is brought to you by TrustFire Flashlights. TrustFire flashlights typically feature advanced LED technology, rechargeable batteries, and multiple lighting modes such as high, medium, low, strobe, and SOS. These flashlights come in various sizes and are designed to cater to different needs, from compact everyday carry models to larger, more powerful tactical flashlights. For me, I have the T40R tactical flashlight with a maximum output of 1800 lumens, and let me tell you, when I go outside and I flick this thing on high beams, you can see absolutely everything. It lights up your world. This one, especially, it's nice and small and compact. It fits in your hand real nice. There's a little clip on it to clip it onto your pocket. And also there's rechargeable batteries in it. It comes with a charger. There's a battery indicator, all that good stuff, and pretty well everything that you would expect from a really, really good flashlight. If you guys want to check out all the flashlights that they have, go to trustfire.com, and if you use the promo code Buick at checkout, you'll receive 10% off your order. So that's trustfire.com, promo code Buick, and you'll receive 10% off your order. Welcome back to another Buick Outdoors podcast. Today I'm joined by my brother Blain, and we're going to be talking about getting kind of fit and losing weight and all that good stuff, just for enjoying the outdoors a little bit better. I know for myself, I've never really been overly too healthy or worked out a whole lot, and it's really held me back when it comes to being in the outdoors. So we're going to talk to Blain and just kind of see what he would recommend for kind of getting to better shape, because lately you've been on this fitness journey, and you've come a long way in a very short time. So where would be a good place for a guy to start?
I always think the best way to start is just to get outside and just start walking. Because for a lot of people, not everybody has the means to go to a gym or to have a home gym or whatever the case might be. But everybody has a pair of shoes. Everybody can start, just get outside, get some fresh air, start walking, and then kind of take it from there.
Yeah, like the simplest thing is just walk.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need any special
No.
gear, you don't need a gym membership. Like, it is free.
Yeah,
And
it's free.
like, as an outdoorsman too, like, we already spend a ton of money on all of our gear and everything like that. And then, like, for me especially, like, I have so much stuff,
Yeah.
but I don't really utilize it. Because even like last spring, and I just said it on a podcast that we just finished recording, the amount of mushrooms I didn't pick because somebody said, yeah, they're at the top of that hill.
Yeah.
And I looked up and I went, I'll die 3 times to get up to the top.
Yeah.
So I just didn't go. And with that, I didn't pick any mushrooms. Well, any of the morels I was going after.
Yeah.
So after, like, just walking around the house, climbing your own stairs, walking around the yard, or walking downtown, like, do you think it's better to focus more, like, once you get a little bit more into it, is it better to focus more on, like, hills and stairs or treadmills on an incline, or is it better just to kind of lift weights with your legs? Like, should you be focusing more on strength training or more like endurance for like the outdoorsman aspect of things?
I honestly think that strength training is the number one. Is everybody should strength train no matter whatever your fitness goals are, right? Like if it's to lose weight or if it's just to be able to climb a mountain, like you should always strength train because that's your number one thing. Getting a good routine. And what I've been doing is I have a schedule, so I'll do a different body part each day. So I'll do shoulders, then chest and triceps. The next day I'll do biceps, the next day legs, and just so on and so forth, and then mix in like the cardio with it. But yeah, like it doesn't matter what your goals are, is just go in with a plan, have a good workout routine, and do the strength training. and then start incorporating. Just say like if you're looking to get fit for hunting and you want to climb hills, just go climb hills.
Yeah.
Like it's I know it sounds kind of like obvious, but like
Train for what you're gonna hunt.
yeah, train for what you're gonna do. If you're gonna be hiking and all that, just find a hill, go up and down it 3 times,
Yeah.
and there's your workout for the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think that's where strength training really comes into play too, because like when we're hiking in hills and stuff, it's not a treadmill on a 10% incline
Yeah.
doing 2.5 miles an hour. Like if you do that, it does help. But even the hills just right here outside your house,
Yeah.
if you just walked in a straight line, you're going to be going up and over trees and you're going to step on a little soft spot. And if you don't really have like the strength in your legs to really
Yeah.
push and really drive yourself up and over, whatever obstacle, like it's you're gonna suffer, and especially when you have like a load on your back.
Yeah.
If you don't have the strength in your ankles and your knees and stuff, you risk injuring yourself like pretty badly when you're out on the trail or in the mountains and stuff. Because I know I've seen like I'm slowly getting into this, so I've been watching quite a bit of like fitness
Yeah.
stuff on YouTube and podcasts and stuff. And that's one thing they kept coming back to is the strength in your legs. Like you can have the best endurance in the world,
Yeah.
but if you slip on a rock, if you don't have the strength in your legs to catch yourself before falling, you're just gonna fall.
Yeah.
Even though you can run a straight line marathon, if you don't have that strength, like you're just gonna hurt yourself, and then you're gonna be in a really big bind.
Yeah.
Because like if you're out, whatever the extreme, you're out 20 miles sheep hunting,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to call in a helicopter or belly crawl back to the truck.
Yeah, exactly. Like even just going up Bullhead Mountain here in Hudson Hope, like if you fall halfway up there, like it's a long ways to get down if you're hurt.
And if you look at the map, it's a couple hundred yards or a couple 100 meter elevation change, like 600 meters or something. Like
Yeah.
it's not,
It's not easy.
yeah, like it's not easy, but in like the aspect of what some of these guys do for like
Yeah.
the extreme sheep, it's like a drop in the bucket. Or like, because like there's some crazy buggers that the first thing that they do is they walk 10, 15 miles to get to the base of where they start hunting.
Yeah. That's it, which is insane to me. It's like, oh man. And plus not to like you also have all your gear on your back.
Yeah.
Like that's one thing that eventually maybe this summer I might start doing it, like the rucking thing where you have like weight on your back to kind of train for that. I was thinking about doing it and like just trying it out, but it's so hard.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing too. If you're a guy that does like a lot of trail cameras and stuff, you kind of do that in your everyday life almost. Because like a lot of times back when I was still living out in Buick, I was hiking and rucking without even realizing I was doing
Yeah.
that. Because I would park the side by side and then I would walk, even if it was 100 yards, you still have to walk 100 yards with the 50-pound bag of oats or salt or whatever on your back.
Yeah.
And like eventually you kind of got used to it. And then when it came time to hunt, I'd walk in there without anything. And it was like, oh, like I just like,
Yeah.
I almost jogged
Yeah.
to the
it's easier.
stand.
Yeah.
So now what I want to focus on is I don't want to train as hard as I'll hunt. I want to train so my hunt is easy.
Yeah.
And like I so far like I'm just getting into it, but I'm already seeing results. And that's I haven't done anything crazy. Like I've been doing some mainly leg workouts cuz like my upper body is strong enough, but I just need to get like my heart rate going, my lungs used to breathing heavy, and like basically I'm kind of doing two things at once. I'm not focusing just on strength and or just on endurance. I'll get onto the treadmill and I'll run for a minute, walk for a minute.
Yeah.
And then eventually I'll run for 2 minutes, walk for a minute, and just slowly build that up. And I'll do that for like the first 10 to 15 minutes of my workout. And then I'll do some strength training with my legs. And then I'll get onto the elliptical to finish my workout. And it'll be like 10 or 15 minutes on that. And with the elliptical too, I don't do just like the flat line thing. There's like the different little workouts that are pre-programmed into that thing. So it starts out easy for like a minute or two, and then it steps up to like a medium for a minute or two, and then it gets like really hard
Yeah.
for a minute or two, and then it comes back down to easy for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But I'll do that cycle like 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time I'm done, like my legs are like throbbing, my heart's racing, my lungs are burning.
Yeah.
But then the next time I go there, I get onto the treadmill and I'm like, this jog, like,
Yeah, it's not that bad.
it's almost easy.
Yeah.
And like that was after like 2 or 3 training sessions.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, like in the not so much in the summer time or like spring, summer, and fall, because that's when I'm actually out doing stuff.
Yeah.
But in the winter, I think for an outdoorsman, like it is crucial to keep up to this. That way, in the
Oh, yeah.
spring, say you're a guy in Alberta that baits bears.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you that first month of walking in and rebaiting your bears
Yeah.
is just brutal, and you're going, "Why the hell am I doing this?"
Right.
Where if you're just working out, during the winter, come spring bear season, even for me doing spot and stalk,
Mm-hmm.
that first bear that I stalk up on, oh, this is way easier than 30 minutes on that elliptical.
Right, and even something like doing the birch syrup, like collecting birch water and stuff. Like it's not that physically demanding, but if there's still a little bit of snow or whatever, and you're trudging through the bush, and if you got 7 or 8 buckets hanging up, it's a little bit of work. But now that you're when you're into working out and stuff, it's easy.
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh, this is nothing.
Yeah. And that is one thing too, is nothing can actually replicate like real world stuff.
Yeah.
Because like birch syrup, there's lots of times where I'll be walking around in April and you're walking on top of the crust, and all of a sudden your foot breaks through
Yeah.
and you're into snow up to your crotch while you're holding a 5-gallon bucket that's 3/4 of the way full of birch water, and you still have to take that step to get your foot out on top of the snow and pick yourself back up without spilling anything or whatever. And same thing walking through like the moss and even just over logs and stuff. Like when I was pretty fit, I wouldn't say I was ever like actually fit, but when I was doing quite a bit of hiking and stuff, I shot a moose once and I wounded him. And I hiked for, I don't know, 4 hours looking for him. And by the time I was done, like my hips hurt, my ass hurt, my legs hurt, my ankles hurt. And like, that's when I was like, quote unquote, in good shape.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's one of those things where the gym, it's not 100%, but it's way better than just not going.
Yeah. I found like I've been doing this now for it'll be like I don't know, a year and a half ish that we've been really working out and going hard. And then I just started like running last August, so like 6 months ago or something like that. So now I basically do like a hybrid training with running and strength training, and it is the best results I've ever gotten so far.
Yeah.
Like doing both. And then also with the running and the strength training, your cardio and endurance like just goes through the roof.
Yeah.
Like you can just lift weights and like you don't need any breaks or rest time or anything.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
And that's where, like, on the treadmill, too, to keep kind of bouncing back and forth. When you're on the treadmill and running, it's not so much good for your legs. I think it's best for, like, your heart and lungs.
Yeah, 100%.
Because there's lots of times I'll be, whatever, just hiking up a little hill to go and look for a mushroom. And, like, my legs aren't tired, but my heart is just pounding, and, like, your chest hurts and your lungs hurt, and, like, you stop. Not because your legs give out, it's because you have zero endurance at all.
Yeah, like when I first started running last year, I was doing that same thing. It was like run a minute, walk a minute. And in that minute of walking, I'd be like so out of breath and my heart is just like boom, 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 boom. And it's just like, oh man, like I don't know if I'm gonna make it here. But then somewhere I found with the running that my stamina increased like super quick. Like within a couple months, I was able to run. Like what I do now is I just run 4 minutes, walk 1, and I pretty much do that for all my runs.
Yeah.
And in that 4 minutes, if I'm going at a slower pace, like I'm not even breathing hard, I'm not breathing heavy unless I actually push it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's it's so good for your cardiovascular health that it's amazing.
Yeah. Well, then just yesterday I was on the elliptical, and that's the first time I've gone past 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And like at the 10-minute mark, it was like, okay, this is where I stop.
Yeah.
And like my legs were burning and they hurt, my lungs hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was just like, go another minute.
Yeah.
And I went another minute and I was like, go one more minute.
Yeah.
And then I just kept going and like the pain didn't get worse.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was still there and like if you wanted to quit, yeah, it's gonna feel good to stop.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I kept going at that pace and like I just kept going.
Yeah. And it's when you start getting into this and you start pushing yourself even harder and harder and you start accomplishing things that you never in a million years thought you could. Like last year we did the dam run, which was a 10-mile trail run through like big elevation changes and all that. And then for fun, we just did a half marathon in town, like at a walking track. And it's just like, man, like I can't believe I'm able to do this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like I still sometimes I'm like, man, it's insane.
Oh,
And it's honestly it's changed like almost every aspect of my life. Like I'm able to just do things that I couldn't do before. I'm able to buy clothes that I couldn't buy before. Like it's really cool.
yeah, that's about the only downside for outdoorsmen if you're a heavier guy and
Yeah.
you've bought like Sitka or Kuiu
Yeah.
or something like that. You just spent 2 grand on the full elk hunter or
Yeah.
whatever, and then you train for 6 months. You go, oh,
Yeah, it's too big.
it don't fit no more. I'm gonna tell the wife.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding.
But I know like there's been times too where say you have a trail camera and it's down a little hill or up a hill or whatever.
Yeah.
You walk in there a few times and it's always kind of hard or you always have to stop 2 or 3 times. Eventually you get to the point where like you haven't gone there in a month or two, but you've been working out at the gym and you're like, oh, man, I gotta go check that trail camera. But like it's such a workout to come out of that ravine or that rut or that hill or whatever. But then after that 6 months or so at like the gym and stuff, you go out and you have that same thought in the back of your mind. But then as you're walking out, you're 3/4 of the way back up to the truck and you're like, oh, I haven't stopped.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I know even back in the day before I started on this like fitness stuff, there were times where we'd go to the river to go fishing or something. And it's like, well, let's park to the closest spot that we can access the river. And then it's like, well, there's way better fishing like way down there. But it's like, well, man, I don't want to walk way down there. So I'll just fish here and never catch anything.
oh yeah, I was bad for that when it comes to like hunting spots too. It was like, I hunt over here because I can drive my truck and then it's like 300 yards that I walk.
Yeah.
But then I'll be on Google Maps and I'll be like, oh, look at this. There's a nice little meadow over here. And oh, I need to go in there and I need to check that out.
Yeah.
So I drive all the way out to wherever and I look and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that's down a really long, steep hill.
Yeah.
I'm not hunting in there.
Right.
And then you talk to somebody and you let it slip like, hey man, like I found this little meadow. It looks great. And buddy might be like, oh, I hunt there every year. And yeah, like I've shot an elk every year.
Yeah.
And you're like, But then you're like, you got to shoot it after you walk in there. Then you got to pack it all out. And like your motivation to go there is just like non existent. Like you don't even think that you're going to go in there. Where now that I'm starting to work out and I'm getting into better shape, it's like you look at a map and you're like, yeah, we can go there.
Yeah.
Like, who cares?
Right.
You got to hike a elk out a couple of trips.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, just
The
go.
workout for the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. It teaches. I found the biggest thing too with working out for this a long period of time is the number one thing it's given me is discipline in every aspect of my life. Like it's just something that I know I have to do for the day. It's like, okay, I got to work out today. It doesn't matter what I got going on, work or schedule or whatever wise. I got to get into the gym and get my. Even some days it's just a quick, simple half an hour. You don't, and especially if you're just starting out, like you don't need that much time. Like 20 minutes every day is good enough. Like you can, until you start pushing yourself more and more, like, yeah, you don't need that much time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy too, because even for me, like, there's been days where I go out to the gym and I'll put in like a 10 or 15-minute workout because it's whatever late at night, and I'm like, I haven't done nothing today. So you
Yeah.
quickly run over and just kind of do it, and like you kind of almost think that it's useless, but then it's better than sitting on the couch for
Yeah.
that 10 or 15
Yeah,
minutes.
exactly, right? And that's another cool thing with the running too is I'm able to my pace right now is roughly between 8 and 9 minutes per kilometer. That's on like a treadmill. So when I'm at work and I want to run 5 kilometers every day, I can get up in the morning. I only need 18 minutes and I can run 2 kilometers before work or whatever. Right? And then after work, I can get the 3 and do some strength training or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like you don't need that much time.
Yeah.
Like you can easily get it out.
Well, and then for guys that are just starting out too, like one of the huge things is like all these supplements and all this crap that kind of goes with it, and people think it goes hand in hand, but like when you're starting out, even if you're not just starting out, even if you've been doing it for like a year or two, really technically speaking, like you don't need pre-workout, you don't need BCAAs, you don't need creatine, you don't need protein powder, you just need to move and exercise.
Yeah. Most of that is all like all the supplements and all that kind of stuff is just an extra tool, but it's a multi-million dollar like thing for a reason. Because it's just marketing and like, oh, you need this, you need that. No, you need to drink water, eat healthy food, and exercise. That's it.
Yeah. And if you sweat a lot, you need a bit of salt.
Yeah.
Like other than that, like
Yeah.
the other stuff, like it does have its benefits, but I mean it's not 100% crucial. Like you're not gonna lose gains because you don't
Yeah.
have it. I mean, like look at old timers like Grandpa when he worked in the forestry industry. He had 3 peanut butter sandwiches, a thermos of coffee, and like a Mars bar.
Right.
Like, and he was like fit as hell. Like,
Yeah. Exactly. It's like I take quite a bit of supplements, but I don't. I'm starting to switch it up because I'm just taking a bit of everything. But what I'm gonna start doing is getting good high quality supplements and just kind of comparing it with my diet too, because I want to get. You should be getting most of your supplements from your food anyway. So it's yeah.
yeah, that's what I do too. Like, I have pre-workout and I have those BCAAs, and like the majority of them all taste terrible.
Yeah.
Like, I've never found one that's actually like really good. I've just found one that doesn't taste as bad as the last one.
Yeah.
But it gets to the point where it's like I spent $49 on pre-workout. I've used it like 3 times, and like
Yeah.
it's gross. I don't like it. So like I haven't drank it in a couple weeks now. But same thing with like all the supplements that I take. You know, I have some issues here and there. I'm 30. Things are slowly starting to
Yeah.
pop up, kind of a thing. So it's like, oh, maybe I need a little bit more, whatever, vitamin D because it's wintertime. So I take 2 1,000, whatever that is, UI
Yeah.
pills of vitamin D just because I'm lacking in that. Same thing with like magnesium and calcium and things. Like I take small doses of that stuff because I'm not getting 100% of it within my diet. But I also don't see them as these magical do-all pills. Same thing with like a multivitamin.
Yeah.
I'm taking them because I'm most likely I'm lacking in some things. So it's like, whatever. It's like a feel good.
Yeah.
Like, if I get a little too much of one, whatever. It's no big deal. But yeah, when it comes to supplements, like the marketing on that stuff, it's like if you don't take this, you're gonna die. It's like, no, you're not gonna die.
Yeah.
Like you might be lacking in it, but I mean, you're still alive.
you're still gonna
You're
be
doing
fine.
good. Like you're fine.
Most of the things that people will take supplements for, like if say they want energy or something, it's not waking up and taking a pill is going to give you energy. Just having a good like morning routine is going to do it for you. Stuff like that. Basically stuff that's free. Like if you wake up in the morning, get outside for the first little bit, get some sunlight, do a bit of just walk, either a walk or like a quick run or whatever, like you would be surprised how much energy you have throughout the day just from waking up and doing that.
Yeah. And just sleep too.
Yeah.
There's so many people that go to bed at like midnight, then they wake up at 6 and they're
Yeah.
tired and groggy. It's like, well, yeah, you only slept 6 hours.
Yeah, and then they gotta drink like 3 cups of coffee first thing in the morning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like for me, I drink a little bit of coffee.
Me too. 1 cup a day.
Yeah, but like for the most part, I drink a cup of tea in the morning, and sometimes I don't even drink tea. I just wake up, drink like a liter of water to get everything kind of moving and rocking and rolling, and off I go. And I just kind of do my own thing, and I'm good because I know like there's been a lot of times where I wake up and I drink 1 or 2 cups of coffee,
Yeah.
but then like come like 1 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm just dead tired. But I've also noticed that when it comes to eating too, and like food goes hand in hand with exercise too. Like
Yeah.
if I eat a big breakfast, I'm slow and sluggish for the first couple hours. And then when that kind of drops off, it must be like your blood sugar level or whatever.
Yeah.
Then I get really tired. So you have to over caffeinate to kind of pick yourself back up. And then the way that we're kind of programmed with like our food clock, like you wake up and eat breakfast at 12 o'clock noon, you have to eat lunch, and at 6 p.m., you have to eat supper. Where now I just kind of go with the flow.
Yeah.
I eat when I'm hungry, and if I'm bored and I open up the fridge, I just close the fridge and I go and do something because like I'm not actually hungry. I'm just bored.
Bored, yeah.
So it's like, well, if I cook up an egg and eat it, that'll take me 15 minutes,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I start every day with a liter of water with a pinch of salt in it. The good quality. We got the Vancouver Island sea salt stuff. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I start every day with the liter of water, and then usually like go outside, take care of the chickens that we got here and stuff, and like just get outside and get some fresh air, and like it's the best way to start your day.
Oh,
It's the best.
yeah. That's where too, like the most happy I've ever been is when I've had like the least. Like when we used to go on the trap line and stuff, you wake up and you look around and like you have a roof over your head,
Yeah.
a fire in the stove, a gun hanging by the door, and like there's no cell phone service, and like you have like absolutely nothing
Yeah.
other than what you brought there with you, and like it's great. And there's no distractions.
Yeah. A couple books maybe.
Yeah.
Deck
So
of
you
cards.
you wake up, you have a cup of coffee, maybe eat a bowl of oatmeal or whatever, and you're like, well, I guess we gotta go outside to stay entertained. So you go out and you split firewood, or you hop on the sled and go check your traps, and you're constantly moving and you're motivated and you're actually active during the day. And then at night you come back in, you eat supper, you bring in your armload of wood for the night, you stoke up the stove, you go to bed, and like
Yeah, you're tired. Yeah.
yeah, and people are like, oh my god, the best sleep I've ever had was out at you guys' cabin. Oh, it was so
Yeah.
nice. It's like, well, for one, you have no distractions.
Yeah.
For two, it's actually dark. And for three, if you're not moving and doing something outside in the fresh air,
Yeah.
you're sitting in the cabin reading a book.
Yeah.
Like there's like literally nothing to do, or you're listening to the radio. So I think that's another thing for like outdoorsmen too. Like if you're sitting at home and you're bored, don't turn on the TV. Like go outside and do something, or try to do something just to stay a little bit more active. And then
Yeah.
that little bit of activity here and there goes a long ways when it comes to actually real world stuff, where like picking berries or whatever, trying to find a spot to hunt mule deer or elk and things like that. And a little bit goes a long ways.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. Even something simple, just going outside, going having a campfire somewhere. Like that is some of my favorite things to do is just like when I know not so much here in Hudson Hope because like we pretty much live in the outdoors, like and but when I lived in Fort St. John in town, there were like probably 3-4 times a week we'd just get in the truck and be like, yeah, let's go for a drive.
Yeah.
Go down some random road, get a little bit of wood, have a fire,
Yeah.
and it's good. You get a little bit of exercise cutting the wood, and then you just have a fire, relax, enjoy being outside, getting away from all the people in the town, and Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and things like getting firewood too. That's one thing I almost miss about living out in Buick because like I had to get firewood,
Yeah.
otherwise there's no heat in the house.
Yeah.
So like when it comes to cutting firewood, you have to pack your saw out, and with me I have a 261 cm still, so it weighs 14 pounds. Just walking, holding on to that thing, it's already a bit of a workout if you're not used to running a saw.
Yeah.
And then you have to cut your tree down, then you have to limb it all, then you have to buck it all up, then you have to pack it all to the truck. And like, if you never do it, it's brutal
Yeah.
at times.
Yeah.
But then like for me, like I had to get firewood to keep my house warm. So it was just like an everyday thing. So then when it came to like hiking in the bush, I already did it
Yeah.
every day of the week cutting firewood.
Yeah.
So now when it came to cutting or checking trail cameras and stuff, well, this is way easier than cutting firewood. Like it was nice. So it kind of comes back to like kind of mimicking that going to the gym, like doing arm curls and squats and everything like that. Like you almost have to mimic what you're gonna do in the bush, but in the gym.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And just yeah, just and once you get some momentum too, it's easy to go. Like I know when I first started, it was like, oh, I got to work out today, and I was like always looking forward to rest days and stuff. And then somewhere around like 6 months or so in, it starts to switch, and you're like, oh, I got a scheduled rest day today. I don't really want to. And even like today, I had a rest day, but I went outside and I did a whole bunch of chores and stacked a bunch of firewood, brought wood over to your house, and like cleaned up the yard and
Yeah.
got a bunch of steps in. So it's still like, even though it's a rest day, I'm not going to the gym today. I still am doing stuff. I'm not just sitting on the couch all day and
Yeah. Yeah, and I think for guys like me, it's while you're going to the gym, it's a pain, it's a drag. You don't really like doing it because we're not outside, and you have all the excuses in the world. But then when you finally do go outside and you start to do something, that's when you realize like what you have been doing has finally paid off. Because like now, if I hike a creek, I'm not gonna go, well, I'll go to that first bend and then stop. Or if somebody says, yeah, the mushrooms are on top of that hill, I'm not gonna look at that hill and go, "Oh, that's too far for me."
yeah. It's like,
Or if
okay.
there's a meadow down the hill, okay, I'll just walk down the hill. Where like before, it was just yeah, didn't even cross your mind like,
It's too hard.
we're gonna fish right here.
Yeah, right. It's like if I can't drive to it, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, especially in Hudson Hope, there's so many trails and random, like most of them are like old quad trails and stuff. But this summer and even now, I started doing it because we don't have that much snow. I just go to a trail, start walking on it, run a little bit, walk, whatever, see where it goes, have no clue, and just yeah. Like I don't, it never crosses my mind to like, oh, that's gonna be too hard. I don't want to do it. It's like, oh no, I'm in good enough shape now that I can do anything.
And then while you're doing stuff like that too, and I seen it a lot when I was out in Buick, and truth be told, it was when I was driving a side by side. So it's not quite the same.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden you're like, oh, what's this? And then you hike in there and you're like, oh, well, this is my new spot to hunt some whitetails. Like,
Yeah.
wow, look how much deer tracks are here. Because I did that last fall. I walked into a spot and I found a great big huge elk lick, and it looked like a highway
Yeah.
where all the elk have been walking. So I'm like, well, I'm gonna hunt some elk here next year.
Perfect.
Yeah, like I don't have to go to Tumbler Ridge or try to find private property I can hunt on. Like I found a spot,
Yeah.
and I found that spot because I went for a walk.
Yeah. Yeah, just walking and exploring is honestly, it's some of my favorite things to do. Like I've always, even before I was working out, I always loved just going for walks, and especially with the dog, you can take her out, and especially here, like you can just go and go in the bush, and in the summertime look for berries or whatever and plants, and it's the best.
Yeah, and then being not even in shape, but being in better shape than you are today, it makes it so much easier.
Yeah.
Because last spring I started walking in the one old burn, and like if you have your head down and you're just kind of looking and checking for mushrooms and stuff, and you start walking, pretty soon you poke your head up and you're like, oh, Like I walked like 3 kilometers from the
Yeah.
truck, and like it was like a stroll in the park.
Yeah,
Like it
it's
was,
like, oh, cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
Where if you're not in any shape at all, and somebody was like, "Yeah, if you walk 3 kilometers that way, you're gonna find an oyster mushroom."
Yeah.
I'm not going that far.
Yeah.
Where now I'm like, oh, 2, 3 kilometers that way, yeah, you'll see it on a nice big, solid poplar tree. Like,
Yeah.
all right, well, let me grab my basket.
It's the same too with all the like all the hiking trails around here. There are some like the waterfall trail or whatever. It's like 12 kilometers, and like before I'd be like, I am not walking 12 kilometers.
I took a quad in there.
Yeah, and then now I'm like, okay, like it's only 12,
Yeah.
like no problem.
Well,
Make a day of it.
the crazy thing is too, and I seen it firsthand. But we took a quad in there, and then when you get there, it's down a pretty steep hill.
Yeah.
Me and the father-in-law walked down there,
Yeah.
but somebody else I know didn't.
Yeah.
I don't want to make fun of them, but they looked at that hill and went, "No."
Yeah.
And me and the father-in-law were like, "Yeah,
Yeah, let's go.
I want to see the waterfall."
Yeah.
So we just hiked down there. Like coming up, I was out of breath, but like I knew that. Like I knew, like especially at that time, I was not in shape at all. But if you do it once, you can do it again. The second time you do it, it's gonna be easier than the first time. As long as you don't go home and eat, a bucket of KFC chicken afterwards. But
Yeah, like we went to the steam vents last fall, and we walked all the way in there, and we did park like kind of further away because I wanted to get a good walk in. And we walked in and we got to the bank, and it like to get to the steam vents is like a really steep, and I'm like, well, we've already went this far, like we can't stop now.
that's my thought when we got to the waterfall. It was like
Yeah.
we already drove the quads all the way in here.
Yeah,
Like
it's like we kind of gotta keep
you can
going.
hear it and you can kind of see it, but like you just gotta hike down
Yeah.
this little hill. Like
Yeah, it's like okay.
and it's just like mind over matter. It's like yeah, walking back up, you're gonna be breathing pretty hard, but
Yeah.
like, who cares?
Right?
Take one or two steps, stop, get your breath. Take 1 or 2 steps, or 5, 10, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Just to slowly make your way back up. Like
Yeah. And it's so rewarding. Like when you walk to these places, it's like, wow. Like I can't believe I did that. Like this is so cool.
yeah. Well, and even when it comes to like hiking up hills and stuff like that, it's like a mind over matter kind of a thing where Bullhead Mountain. If you look at the base and you look at the top and go,
Yeah.
that's my goal.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Your goal is 200 yards in front of you. Get to that first power pole. And then from there, get to that flat spot.
Yeah.
And then from there, get to that rock.
Cut it into sections.
Yeah.
I always do that when I'm hiking up a hill. I'll like look up and be like, hey, just go from here to there and then have another break.
Yeah.
And then usually I'll pass that whatever spot and I'm like, oh, okay, keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool because me and Courtney climbed Bullhead last year. And now every time I drive by it, I look at it and go, I've walked to the top of that thing.
Yeah.
It's just like such a cool feeling. My goal is I want to climb Bullhead Mountain every single year, at least once.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna do that on this days off, but it's been so incredibly windy and it kind of snowed and then it got kind of melty, so I don't know. There might be some ice, but whatever. I can do it here, and that's probably gonna be a March hike for me.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking once the weather kind of warms up a bit more.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna be a definite challenge right now with like it's pretty slippery and stuff, and it's like, eh.
Yeah, it's already a
already
miserable
hard.
hike.
Yeah.
No sense of making it even harder.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, do you have any other tips and stuff for like when it comes to just getting in slightly better shape for hiking and stuff?
I think just as long as you have a plan and a mindset that you're gonna do it, you're good to go. You don't have to wait for the perfect opportunity to start. You can start whenever you want. Start small, and then just work your way up. And from the one thing that really helped me is, especially when we first started working out, because I honestly my gym routine used to be go to the gym, walk, do some kind of cardio thing, and do a couple machines and be like, okay, good.
Yeah.
Like I had no clue what I was doing.
And look at the stickers on the machines
Yeah.
and YouTube and wherever.
Exactly. But now we started actually working out at our house in we all we did for our home gym is just bought some dumbbells and then we did beach body,
Yeah.
and it's just a video on demand, like kind of like Netflix but for workout programs.
Oh, yeah.
And just by doing those, you actually figure out like, oh, that's how you actually work out, like how many sets and reps and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's such a good tool, and like you have YouTube, you can just get all this stuff for free as well. Like
Yeah. And on YouTube, like there is a lot of just random dudes and girls that are doing the thing, but there's also a lot of channels. I think it's Nike. They put up their own channel and it's just like straight body workouts. And like I've done a couple of them.
Yep.
And at first you're like, what the hell good is this gonna do?
Yeah.
You get 5 minutes in and you're like, slow down, woman. Like I
Yeah.
can't keep up. Like stop. Give me a break.
There are so many utilities out there that you can use that are free. That like YouTube, Instagram, all that kind of stuff. Like basically now what I do is I make my own workout schedule, and I just go like, okay, today I'm gonna do shoulders, but I want to incorporate like the cable machine at the gym more than dumbbells or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'll just like go online and search a bunch of moves, and then I just write them down, and then when I go to the gym I have it written down what I'm doing, and okay, easy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we have the world at our fingertips with cell phones
Yeah.
and like yeah. Worst case scenario too, if you want to spend money, you can always get a personal trainer
Yeah.
too and just tell them like, hey, I want to focus on, endurance or strength or just tell them a story. Be like, hey, I want to hike up to the top of the hill where the guy said mushrooms were.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, oh, okay, so you need to work out on this and that and maybe a little bit of core strength. And we don't have to worry about your shoulders because you're carrying a wicker basket. Like, don't worry about that. We'll just do ankles, legs, core, good to go.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And just one of the things I've realized too is find people that work out a lot and just talk to them, because they love like people that, especially at the gym in where I work in camp, like I'll see those guys on site and then we'll like talk and they'll like share some of their tips and stuff because they're just like they want to help you just get in better shape too. Like it's I find the fitness community actually is pretty welcoming, and like especially when you first start, if you don't know what you're doing at all, like come on, I'll show you. Here, do this.
Oh yeah, and when it comes to like working out at the gym too, it's not like you're telling somebody your super secret hunting spot.
No.
It's like you're in the same, like you're already there. This is
Yeah.
the super secret spot, the gym.
It's just a simple, like here, I'll show you.
Yeah.
Do this move with that, and yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You're good to go.
Right on. Well, you guys, I hope that kind of helps you out and kind of gets you motivated to move a little bit more, and yeah, helps you hike up to the top of the hill, find those mushrooms, and get you outside and get you moving. So yeah, I think we're gonna wrap this up here, and we're gonna go to the gym, do some workouts, and we'll catch you on the next one.